Hello, and welcome to another book review, an exciting book review. Well, it is exciting for me. Sulis, Solar Goddess of the Spring Waters by Rachel Patterson. A long-awaited book, this, and has not disappointed in one bit. So, where to start? I will start at the beginning because that's where Rachel starts. She explains how she's worked with Sulis for a number of years. So Sulis is a very ancient English goddess. She's only found, or only been found, evidence of her has only been found at the baths in Bath, the Roman Spring, the hot springs in Bath, in Somerset, in England, where there have been excavations over the years, and they have found the temple, or they found part of it. Come to that. So they found part of the temple. They have also found the curse tablets, and they have found coins and altars that were dedicated to her. She's very much a goddess of justice and strength and nobility, but very much justice. Considering it's a hot spring, you'd have thought she'd have been healing, and there may have been some healing things, but that's certainly not the energy that comes through for any of us. May come through more for you when you dive into this, but for all of us, it was very... So yes, so Rachel starts off by saying how she has actually worked with Sulis for a number of years. This book brings it all together. So she brings together all the archaeological evidence that has been found over the years. She brings in the literary evidence from the Romans, because the Romans arrived. And Sulis, we all think, actually quite like the Romans, because up until they arrived, her hot springs had been, we think, open. Maybe they might have had a wooden structure, who knows, because wood obviously rots. So if there had been a structure, it might have been wood. But certainly the first evidence of a structure built to house her springs was when the Romans came. So the fact that, and the fact that they actually, because they put Minerva in quite a few areas around England, because her energies, they felt, were similar to the goddesses that were already being worshipped. So you'll often find Minerva something, not with Sulis. With Sulis, it's Sulis Minerva. Very interesting little tweak. So Minerva is there, but it's Sulis Minerva. Interesting, don't you think? These things, very interesting. The way things are worded can be very illuminating if you take the time to look at them. So, why am I so excited about this book? Because I'd never been to Bath. I had never been there. I wanted to go there, and I was lucky enough that the four of us back then, in 2021, around this time, September, end of September, went for a visit. And Rachel had been to the area several times before. Ness, Sue and I had never been there. So we booked into the flat that we had rented, and we'd booked when we were going in, because back then it was part of the COVID thing, so you had to book when you were going to go and visit. So Rachel had done all the booking and everything for us, and I had no idea. As I say, I had never been to Bath before. I had no idea where we were, and we were walking, and Rachel was in front, obviously, because she knew the way. And I think, from memory, Sue and Ness were slightly in front of me, because I was just sort of lagging like I sometimes do, just picking up the energies. And all of a sudden, woof, I just came to a full stop. And Rachel actually says this in the book, in the introduction. She remembers turning round. So she must have felt something as well, because she would have done, but she must have felt me, because literally this wave of powerful energy just went up around me, and it was like I'm actually getting goosebumps and tingles remembering it, sitting here in Sussex, which is quite a long way away. And the energy, and Rachel just looked at me and I said, wow, she's here. This is her. I can feel her. And we were coming up from behind, as it turned out, from behind, and we were still quite a way away. Which is why I say they found part of her temple, because I'll come to the next bit. We then went in for our thing, and the first part that you come into the building, and then you come out and you come round. If the site is in the blog, there is a blog to go with this. So the Bath site website is there, and if you can do one of those visual tour things, you go round the outside like this and looking down on what is now a green pool, because it is full of the algae, so you can't touch it or anything, but that was the outside pool. And as we're going round, so you start this side and come on, and I'm feeling that this push downwards the whole, and then we come round up the long end, if you like, and it was only when we came to that top end before going back in to the archaeology that's covered, and I suddenly looked up and there was the cathedral. Beautiful cathedral, do not get me wrong, it's a beautiful cathedral, but the way it had been built, it was oppressive. And that's what I'd been feeling. I'd been feeling that oppression that was being put down onto Sulis and her temple. Anyway, we then went in. Part of the way around, we had to make a stop because the Balanus. So Sulis's temple, there's reconstructions throughout from the fragments that have been found, but the one piece of the main entrance that was virtually intact was the huge face of Balanus, being called the Gorgon's head. Could be a Gorgon, who knows? We think it's Balanus. Who knows? Very similar. It's very similar to another Celtic god from Gaul because of the snakes and the chains from the ears. Because the chains from the ears from the one in Gaul is to do with listening to the people and receiving their messages. Anyway, but we think it's Balanus, and there are steps. So I just sat down, and then the other three just sat down. We just spent ages just looking at this remarkable apps, and it's complete. That's the one part of it. They've had to sort of like do impressions. They've got other little sort of like broken bits around it, but the impression of this entrance is so it fades, and then the impression comes back so that you can see what they think the whole thing looked like. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But this Balanus, the energy from that was just wonderful as well. Hot springs, the whole thing just vibrates with energy. It's just, if you can get there. If you can't, look at the website, because they do, like I say, the virtual tour. We came out eventually. And yes, we all did go into the shop afterwards on the way out and bought some little bits and pieces. Some of us more than others. I've mentioned nobody. And then we decided that we would go and look at the cathedral. So we all went in and we all went round and we all came out. Now, I like churches. We all do. We all do. I was in one last Sunday before the service, but yeah, the organ player was playing. But the energy, Sulis, no, you're not staying around in here. This is the thing that's oppressing me. I'm under here. And this is what I picked up. Her temple is under the cathedral, or more of her temple is under and this is what's so sad. And Rachel does mention this in the book. I know I'm rambling again. I come on to do a quick book review. It's never a quick, especially with one of Rachel's. It's not going to be quick. I will get back to the book. So the first part, the very, very beginning, is the introduction where, as I say, Rachel says how she's worked with Sulis for a long time. Part 1 then goes into Sulis and her history. So it goes through how the archaeologists think it began. Worship is ancient. They have found older relics than the Romans. So we know that there was worship going on there well before the Romans. There's the curses, there's the offerings that have been found in the spring, there's the seers. They're called Heruspeks. But it's all to do with seeing, to divination. Then talking about the waters and how she was worshipped, the altars and things that were there. So quite an extensive first section, takes up half the book. And it's all based on archaeology and the literature that we have. So it's as factual as can be at the moment. Part 2 is the exciting bit, because this is working with Sulis. And this is where Rachel says, right, these are mine, find your own. You can use these as a base, but if you're going to build a relationship, then you can use what's in here to start you off, but then listen to your intuition and listen to Sulis, because trust me, she'll soon tell you what she wants and what she don't want. So it says about what we know, what we do know, about creating an altar, creating candles specifically for her, the offerings that you could use. Then there is a section on meditations, so that you can actually get to meet her yourself and spend time with her and start to build that relationship. It's like any relationship, you want to build on it. You don't have to. You can just read this book as a matter of interest, but if you want to, you can build that relationship. She's a powerful, trust me. Be careful, because once you've built that relationship, if you ask her for something, it'll happen pretty quickly. She doesn't hang around. So there are meditations. There's meeting Sulis in a Roman bath meditation, and yeah, then it goes on to building a relationship. There's a ritual in here, which we actually did on at the workshop. So that's on YouTube as well, if you want to go and have a look at that and follow along with that. There's options for adapting the ritual if you wish to. Herbals. There's a whole section on herbs and the herbal things that Rachel thinks resonate for her with Sulis. But again, it's very much about find what resonates for you. Rachel then gives you incense blends and oil blends. She gives some crystals that she thinks. Don't forget, if Sulis is as ancient as we think, no, from the archaeology, a lot of crystals won't mean a thing to her. But Rachel has said that there are some, like amber. Amber was found in this country. Black obsidian, carnelian you can find in this country, and pyrite. But there are others. There's amethyst, which obviously is a bit harder to find lying around in England, but it's a royal colour. So I can quite see that Sulis would quite like amethyst, because that's a very regal colour. And let's face it, she got all the attention when the Romans came. So yes, if she saw them parading around in purple, she'd think, well, I'll have some of that. But yeah, so there's all of those. There's the animals that are associated with her, divination methods. Right at the end, I am going to finish soon. You'll be pleased to know. So right at the end, Rachel does say the final problem is that we're right in the middle of a city. there isn't going to be much more excavation unless something needs to be renovated or they knock something down. It's unlikely they'll knock the cathedral down because that's where I feel most of the rest of the temple is. But so yes, but yeah, as things need doing, as roads get dug up and what have you, they do still find things. So there, whether we'll know the full extent, probably not, because there's so much has been built on. And as you know, if you've seen any of my other reviews, end notes, bibliographies, my favourites. So we have 4 pages. We have pages of end notes where Rachel gives, where she's got her references that are in the book from. You've then got a recommended reading list, which is quite extensive considering we're talking about a very little known goddess. She then gives the academic papers that are available for people to look at too. And then there are some websites, which, as I say, I have put on the end of the blog. So if you want to go to those, but basically it's the Roman baths, the Novarium, and then there is Sussex Past, looking at Fishbourne Roman Villa as a extra. As you can tell, I love this book. It brought back lovely memories of a wonderful few days that we spent there. Brought back the feeling of that energy that I got as we were walking along that cobbled street. That wave of power that I felt. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. As I say, Rachel's worked with Sulis for a long time. So this isn't a book that she's just, looked at a goddess for a few months and then this is a goddess Rachel has worked with for numerous years, and she has put everything into this that she possibly could. She's put the known from the archaeology and the literature along with her own gnosis, but she has told you where her gnosis starts and encourages all of us to make our own connections if we wish to. On that note, I will leave you. I'll see you again for something else or another book review, whichever comes first. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you get the book, what you think of the book, whether this has been useful, and I will see you next time.